Hi again, friends. This is Joe Atkinson. Now that Iowa Scaled Engineering is close to production of their new ProtoThrottle product, I thought I would put together a video with a few tips and suggestions for configuration and operation of the throttle since I've been beta testing it for about the last year. One quick note before we get started. On my ProtoThrottle, I've chosen to assign this button that's labeled dynamic brake in the upper left corner. I assign that to the drive hold feature. The dynamic brake lettering is actually going to be removed from the faceplate in the production version of the ProtoThrottle, but I've found that this button, since it allows you to both see and feel whether that function is engaged, it makes a handy assignment for drive hold. So anyway, today we've got an eastbound train out of Bluffs Yard that I thought I would use to demonstrate some of the features. So we'll get underway there. Engage drive hold as I do with starting a heavy train. We'll set the reverser, knock off the brake, and start the throttle up. Release and re-engage drive hold just to simulate that work of starting a heavy train. Release and re-engage again. And finally release. We're currently in notch 3, as you can see. I have the ProtoThrottle and my decoders configured so that notch 3 equates to about 8 miles an hour, which makes a good speed for yard limits, for restricted speed, kind of simulating the prototype's 10 mile an hour limit that's, I think, somewhat common in those situations. We'll remain at that speed until we get a bit further east here, but in the meantime we've got a bit of a layout tour, a layout update here, since we're passing through some of the scenes I've finished in more recent months. Here we've just passed under Harry Langdon Boulevard and crossing over the BNSF's Bayard branch. Yard limits on the layout are just at the west end of the high bridge here, but then the bridge itself is within a speed restriction, so we'll maintain that 8 mile an hour speed over the bridge. Unlike the prototype, I'm treating my speed restrictions as head end only, so that I'm not stuck in that restricted speed for half the layout. Now that we're over the bridge, we can begin to notch up 4 and notch 5. Coming up on a grade crossing in McClellan, so we'll start the bell. Notch up a bit more. Knock off the bell. Get up to notch 8. And we'll notch back a bit as we start down into the East Nishnawatna River Valley. Coming out of the valley, got a pretty stiff grade ahead, so we'll get up to notch 8 for that climb. I have my speed curves set so that I have custom speed curves configured for all my power so that they reach maximum road speed at notch 5. And so between notches 5 and 8, you can kind of play the throttle a bit. It's a bit like using drive hold, but without the additional button pressing. As we start to top out, that grade will notch back just a bit. But the speed curves allow us to kind of play the sound without impacting the locomotive speed, since the curve is flat through those notches. And I've just found that to be kind of helpful while still allowing a lot of granularity for operation within the lower notches, because we've still got 2 to 3 miles an hour per notch in those lower notches in 1 through 5. So back to notch 6. So anyway, I hope that's given you a glimpse of some of ProtoThrottle's capabilities and some of the neat features on it, and kind of take you out as we finish a bit of a layout tour here. Thanks for watching, everyone.